Hey guys, so I just wanted to give an update on a project I've been working on for a little bit, which is a parametric customizable Eurorack case. Parametric really just means like you can edit parameters and it'll auto regen the design. So I can kind of show that here real quick. And I made a thread on Reddit, on the modular Reddit, on basically kind of early versions of this. Y'all had some feedback, things that you'd like changed or wanted to be able to do, so I factored most of those things in. There's still a couple things I need to add, like someone mentioned the lighting for the case and that sort of thing. I haven't done that yet, and I haven't added like the cooling gaps on the back panel yet either, but those will come in time. So basically, kind of show you how this works. So obviously I'm in Fusion 360. I'm not, a master or anything at Fusion. I'm actually pretty new to it, but it was fairly simple design, so it wasn't too bad. But I kind of go through how this works. So we've got a ton of different parameters here. It's kind of the most common things you'll see is like, okay, how many U's do you want on each section of the case? So it's split into three sections. You got the bottom, middle, and the top. So you can customize each of those sections to your liking. So for example, I can come here and change the bottom to, let's say, 9U, if it lets me. There we go, 9U. And you'll see now the bottom is 9U. These are still tiny. This looks weird. But yeah, you could do it if you totally want to. Let's do, for my case, I'm probably just going to go 6 on all of the sections. So something like this. And then you can come in here and change your HP. So I'm just going to make something up, let's say 200 HP, and you've got a really wide case there. You can also change things like, one of the requested things was having a gap between these brackets so that, for two different reasons. Actually, I guess three. One was being able to route wires permanently. So people wanted to be able to like route wires and hide them behind, and then connect them, permanent way, and keep those out of the way. The other was cooling, to let, I guess, air naturally flow, so it's just not all the modules aren't just cooking behind there. And then the third reason was someone had mentioned that at these 45-degree angles it's kind of hard to connect between modules, so adding a gap there can help. So you can actually change the gap, so to speak. I call it a case bracket gap. And so if I do 10 mil here, you'll see there's 10 mil between each of them. So pretty cool. Yeah. Then another thing you can do is you can also change the depth between the basically the top and the bottom. So you can think of the top as just like where your modules would mount to. So from here to down here is 100 mil right now, and that's customizable. So if you want to have a depthier case, you can say, hey, I want 200 millimeters. Oh, well, maybe that's too high. I gotta fix that. But yeah, like you can change this to let's actually make it smaller, right? 50 mil. Oh, I broke it. Did I break it? I think I broke it. Oh wait, I changed the wrong thing. Oh, that's the extrusion length. Haha. Sorry, wrong thing. That'll break things. Yeah, so if I do 50 mil here, you'll see it gets shallower. If I do 200 mil, it gets real deep. Um, so yeah, you can do whatever you want there. And I'm gonna have a false bottom here. It's just not modeled right now. It's still something I need to work on. But the false bottom will also have the same depth, and that's just so that all the damn it, what are they called? Power boards. I forget the name of them. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, but between all of these cases, they'll have 100 mil or whatever you define as your bus board. It's right there. Yeah. So the distance between the top and to the board that your bus board's mounted on will be the same across all of them. So it should be nice and neat. Um, And then you can also customize the thickness of these panels that are on the bottom top sides. You know, all these panels are right now they're 1/4 inch because I figured like a lot of people would probably do like plywood, but you could also do acrylic or whatever. The only thing to note is um, at least right now with the design, the side panels are important for reducing what is it, the shift, like, so like this could shift side to side if you don't have the panels off, so you do want those on. And then the last thing people asked for was a way to have 1U um, modules. So right now I only support having it on the bottom above here and then in the middle. So let me turn the just so it's easier to visualize. I'm going to turn the case bracket gap off, right? So these are all flush with each other. And if I go and enable 1U on the bottom, you'll see there's like there's a gap here to support IntelliGel or IntelliJ, however you say it, format, right? And you can do the same on the top, or on the middle rather. I can add one on the top as well. It's not a big deal. But this is where you can currently add them. It's just on the top of the bottom and the top of the middle section. And then eventually I'm going to have one on the top of the top section. So, yep. And then, obviously if you add in a gap, it'll factor that in as well. So if I do this, it's going to add a gap between the 1Us as well. So that's factored in. And then, if you want, I know it doesn't show it in this example, but if you want, for example, to move this 1U down here, well, there's nothing stopping you when you actually build the design. It's just the way it's illustrated here is simply having a 1U. And what I'm probably going to do in the design is just allow you to specify how many 1Us you want per section. So if you want 2 in the middle, it'll just have a gap here that's twice as tall, but there's nothing stopping you from moving these brackets such that you have one up here and one in the middle between these, or maybe one on the bottom. However you want to do it, it doesn't matter. It's the same dimensions, so you can just order them however you want. But so yeah, that'll be something that I add in, just like a multiplier of how many of the 1Us you want in your case. So yeah, that's all the features right now. Couple things I think I mentioned that I'm going to add is basically adjustable height on the back that basically allows you to add a gap here on this panel on the top and the bottom just to allow air to flow through, as well as something to do with lighting. I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I don't want it to be too like intrusive. I want to avoid the amount. I mean, I know it's weird, but this thing's made of extrusions, right? Aluminum extrusions, and then whatever other material you want for the panels. But I don't really want these to be like the focal point of the case. I don't want the aluminum extrusions to like take away from the rest of the case. So I'm trying to kind of hide them with the panels, right? But I don't know in terms of like the design how a lighting would fit in too well, because I could just put like an aluminum extrusion here and then mount some lighting on it. I mean, that would be simple enough, but then that's gonna like kind of show. So I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about. If y'all have ideas, please let me know on that. Maybe it's just mounting points to add your own. I don't really know. So just something to think about. So yeah, that's it. Let me know your feedback, and I'll try and factor in whatever y'all decide or think popular demand. I think the 1U and the case bracket gap was like the biggest thing people were asking for. Now, one thing people didn't want was to be able to change the angle here. Now I can do that. However, I will say that uh, the fasteners, because you got to imagine you have to somehow join these two extrusions together. If we look at an older version of my um, design, this is kind of like the uh, predecessor to the parametric. This one's not parametric, right? I did all this like you know manually. Like if there's fixed, you can't change any of the parameters on this one. That's why I ended up redoing it. But I have um, these fasteners here that join these two extrusions together. And now these are easy to find, and those are fine if you're trying to do a 45-degree angle. But any other angle, you're not really going to find a whole lot unless it's like a 90-degree um, for fasteners. Um, and so they do sell, at least 8020 does. They do sell a custom. They call it a miter fastener, which basically it goes through the middle. So there's like a part that goes in the middle, and then another part that goes in the middle. So it goes on the inside. But the problem with that is it requires significant modification to the extrusion itself. So they have to like actually tap a hole here, and you have to use um, like an end mill, and like a lot more complicated tooling that I think most people would have access to. And this, I'm trying to make this as easy to do. Now, that said, I think it's still technically possible to do if and the idea I'm toying with, which I haven't implemented yet, but the idea I'm toying with is providing a 3D printable fastener that connects on the T slots. So basically, you can think of in this case it's like 45-degree angle. Let's say there would be a 3D printed part that would sit in both of these T slots and be mounted to T nuts on the back of it, right? And you would do it on this side, the bottom, and the top. You couldn't really do it on this side because um, I guess it actually really depends on how these are fastened. So you may be able to avoid like these interfering with the things, but anyways, for now it'd be on the top, bottom, and the side. You'd have this custom 3D printed um, fastener basically to join these extrusions together. So that is a potential workaround. Now, I don't know how strong that's going to be, right? Like this is metal; these are aluminum, and they're pretty thick. I don't know if I did like ABS as an example is probably what I'd print. I would not do PLA, particularly because PLA has a tendency to kind of warp under any sort of heat, and you know, especially on this bottom, if we had a fastener on the bottom here where there's a lot of case heat, um, yeah, that could warp, and that's no good. I've actually had that happen on the 3D printer when I built my Voron a few years ago. I had to print in PLA temporarily to house or basically mount there's like an electric mount that goes on DIN rails on the bottom. I had to do it in PLA, and that thing warped within like few hours of printing. And so like the first thing I printed, like or first few things I printed was like ABS to replace that. So wouldn't do PLA. ABS is probably fine. I just don't know how like rigid and strong it would be. But that's kind of one idea I'd have is to do that. Now these I wouldn't be able to mount that way because except for the top part, you'd only really be able to mount it on this angle right here. So that is a problem. Um, and so yeah, there's some design quirks still to figure out, but uh, I will try and factor in putting in your own angle between these guys, and maybe that makes it a little bit more customizable for y'all. But yeah, this video is going kind of long now, so um, I hope that's cool. Let me know your feedback. Thanks. Bye.